You got any tips for people to be like more efficient whenever they are going into a new piece of public to scout it out this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, I would speed scout it. I would go down the edges, so the transition between lowland and like woods and marsh, or
Mm-hmm.
dogwood and cattails, or tamarack and trees, or I'd follow those edges. And if I was in hill country, I'd follow that leeward edge all over the place. And I'm going to go for a ways. And if I don't see sign, and I'm going to go to the best stuff first, best stuff I see on the map first.
Okay.
And if I'm not seeing any kind of big rubs, or at least historical big rubs, I'm out of there. Because you're going to get right on the sign thinking those transitions. And a guy's got to really get away from the scouting everything.
Yeah.
Most guys will go in and they'll take a wood lot like that and they'll scout a whole big woods everywhere, and they'll get all confused. And I know this because when they come to me and they ask advice, they'll show me an onyx thing that makes my head spin, with a million marks on it where every rub is, or every tree stand mark is, and it's like every scrape is, and I'm like, well, what do you care if there's a scrape in the middle of the woods? But there's a scrape there. You need to know where those
Yeah.
are. It's like, no, you don't. Where you need to know where a scrape and a rub is you need to know where it is, where that deer moves in daylight.
Yeah.
Deer are nocturnal, and mature bucks especially in pressured situations. So if a mature buck is up on his feet 95% of the time, it's dark out. So you want to know where he makes a sign in the 5%. And that's going to be coming out of his bedroom or around his bedroom, going in or coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to want to look around those bedding features for the sign. You could care less what he does at midnight.
Right.
I mean, even when you find a big rub in the middle of a woodlot, it might not even be a buck that lives on that property. He might just be traveling through. But when you find it going into a buck bedding area, there's only one reason they go into a buck bedding area. It's a bed.
Right. Yeah. That's a good tip. I mean, especially in hill country. I mean, you could spend your whole life freaking trying to scout everything, because it takes so long to get places just because of the terrain's rough.
The big one with hill country is people tend to, especially novices that are new at it,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to glue to the bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottoms, that swirly wind that is so hard to hunt. And you get busted constantly. When really hunting high has much better results. But they're not going to see the sign up high. You have to really look for it up high.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, like, the tracks and the trails and stuff in the lowland really stay there. That lower, more moist soil and stuff will hold all the sign, the scrapes and stuff. We're up in a hill, you can walk right past a scrape and maybe not even notice it in that sandy soil and stuff, or
Mm-hmm.
they're not leaving tracks on those hard hills.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll look like there's a million deer down at the bottom and nothing up on the hill, but there's probably equal numbers. It's just that the ones down in the bottom are going to catch you with the swirling winds and
Yeah.
all that.
That's a real good point. I actually did that today. I had a friend of mine who's a new deer hunter with me today scouting. Or this year was his first year deer hunting, and he was scouting with me. And it was probably a mile or a mile and a half walk where we had to go to, but to get there, there was a really nice point that I thought, man, there got to be bedding right there, and to get there, we just walked the top. Like, I just was walking as fast as I could to get there. And on the top, every now and again, you'd see like a scrape, like a little scrape or something. And, he would ask me like, "Oh, look at that." I'm like, "Yeah." And I, kind of explain like, "Yeah, that's probably just some 2-year-old like getting excited and making a scrape up here." I said, "You'll know when we get into sign. Like, you'll know if it's in the right area." And I said, "It might not be. Like, we may get there and it may just be just vacant of deer sign. I don't know yet. I've never been here." But then on the map, I could tell there was a military crest on the map just by the topo lines. There was a section that was much wider on the topo than the rest of the topo lines. And when we got to that area where the military crest started to get prevalent, I was like, okay, we need to drop down here. It was about that 2/3 of the way up, and we got down in there. I mean, they're just tore up with deer, and it was greenbrier everywhere, really nice and thick on the side of that ridge. And I mean, we probably saw 30 big rubs. There was some pine and stuff there, and just it was awesome area. But yeah, like I guess I don't even think about it anymore. Like just that's how I go about it. And then I just heard you say it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's just what I do too. Now I'll tell you, like, years ago, it was much slower process. So
Right.
You almost just have to go out and to learn where the sign is to get more.
It's hard
more
for
efficient.
most people to take that where you just speed across the woods straight to the area
Yeah.
you need to be, but that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to be efficient so you learn properties. I mean, there's a lot of dead zone out there, and if you spend your time
Mhm.
scouting everything, you're going to run out
Yeah.
of time. You're not going to find much.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it. Now, I'll fine tune an area a little more if I know there's a huge buck in there. Like
Sure.
say it's real big 10 I'm after, right?
Yeah.
I'll go in that area and I'll spend a lot more time, but I'm not up on the open hardwoods. I'm not checking out the grass fields and stuff. I'm going right into where I think he's bedding, but I might look at a lot more in that area than I would someplace else, just because I want to know everything about that buck in that area because
Yeah.
of that particular buck.
Hey everybody, if you like the channel, make sure you subscribe right here. And if you like the clips, I got 2 more options for you. 2 options right here. Subscribe right here. See you guys.